But the price isn't just a number. It's a statement. I would even say on the higher level teams, it's a standard. It's a vow we make with the customer and ourselves. We don't charge more because we're greedy. We charge more because we refused to do average work at average pay and give the client average results. We charge more because we're the one who shows up when the water's on the floor and the family's looking at us like we're the last helicopter out.
Welcome to the Waste No Day podcast, a podcast specifically for and about the home services industry as it relates to plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. More than a podcast, Waste No Day is a credo, a determination, a mindset. It is a never-ending discipline. It is a refuse to lose pursuit. It is a wake-up call every morning to waste no day. Now here's your hosts, Brian Burton and Nate Minnick.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Waste No Day podcast. Your host, Nate and Brian, hanging out with you again. Looking forward to another great episode. And we are talking about a very important subject, especially around this time of the year where you see all kinds of offers and deals and specials going on. We're talking about being expensive in a cheap world and the race to the bottom. So we're looking forward to having a good conversation around that today. And I think it's going to be very appropriate, as I mentioned, this time of year, but really, this is a temptation that can happen any time of the year, as you may be in a market that has this type of, strategy occurring. So we'll get to that in just a second. We're going to kick it off here with a little bit of an intro ourselves. And we're going to start off, as always, with a quote from Brian.
The problem with the race to the bottom is that you just might win. Seth Godin.
Very appropriate, Brian. I tell you what, whether it's tune-up season or Black Friday or whatever else is occurring, you always see these types of offers out in the field. And at some point, it's like, what are you guys trying to do? You're going to start paying people to have them take your service? We're just going to reverse engineer this thing the whole way. There's a time and place for discounting. You probably disagree with that, Brian. But I tell you what, when the discounting gets into there's no value even attributed to the service anymore. Everybody is underserved at that point. The client you're going to, the entire industry, obviously you as a technician or your technicians as a manager. When you start going down that road and you start just trying to cut the knees out of the entire market, hoping that you're going to get something at the bottom of the barrel, usually just end up with a bunch of regret.
Yeah, and whether it's that initial offer, which, the billboard that $29 full furnace replacement with a free AC system attached or whatever, those things are kind of lost leaders or it's marketing games. Really, the bigger issue is systematically lowering your price or coming out of the gate very low, thinking that you're going to earn the most business by being one of the lowest price. And Nate and I, and probably a lot of people listening, have been around long enough to know that you won't be in business very long. So it's not something that the market has to concern itself with. But there are so many waiting to replace you and try that logic for the 10 millionth time. And they're going to figure out how to be successful with it versus building on reputation, quality, personality, and standing behind your product in a real way. And I heard a little story that I twisted up a bit and crafted for our own purposes here. It won't involve an electrician this time.
Shocking. Okay, go ahead.
It will involve a guy named Mr. Patel. We're going to talk a little bit about discounting and really the race to the bottom and its effect on you, your team, your business, your personal growth. So Albert Einstein walks onto a bus and there's one seat open. A guy named Mr. Patel sees that the Albert Einstein is about to sit next to him. He's like, oh, okay. I see an opportunity to make some money here. So Mr. Einstein sits down. Mr. Patel says, good to meet you. I was wondering if you'd want to play a game with me to pass the time. And Einstein says, yeah, what kind of game you thinking? And he says, you ask me a question. If I get it wrong, I'll pay you. And then I get to ask you a question. And if you get it wrong, you pay me. Einstein says, I can do that. Let's do it. Mr. Patel says, hold on. We got to have some odds here, right? Because you're one of the smartest guys on the planet, 160 IQ or whatever it was. And I'm just a dude. So if you get a question wrong, you give me 100. If I get a question wrong, I'll give you $10.
All right.
And Einstein was a man of great intelligence and probably a little bit of ego. And he said, I'll make that deal with you. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Einstein goes first. He says, all right, what's the distance between the Earth and the moon? Mr. Patel looks up, looks around. He's just like, I have no idea. Pulls out a 10-piece, hands it to Albert, and on they go. Mr. Patel says, what goes up a hill with 3 legs and then comes down with 4? And Albert thinks, he's like, I know this is a riddle. So he does some math in his head and tries to come up with what it could be. And finally, he takes out $100 and he says, I don't know. Hands him the $100. And then Einstein looks at Mr. Patel and says, all right, so what has 3 legs going up a hill and 4 legs coming down? Mr. Patel pulls out $10 and hands it to Mr. Einstein. and what's the moral of the story, right?
That's good.
Was they can play this game all day, and there's zero way for the party that discounted his value to win, because the other party knows he doesn't have to get a single question right. He's still going to win as long as he can make his opponent get the questions wrong. So he's going to leave. He got there with a pocket full of hundreds, and he's going to leave with a pocket full of tens. Discounted his value.
Yeah, it's a painful reality there, Brian, and a funny way to open things up. And you talked earlier there about standing behind who you are and what you believe in. And I tell you what, one thing that we stand behind is this podcast, and we believe in it as a great and valuable tool and resource that is available for free every single week. And we hope that you feel the same way about that. And in fact, we actually take a little bit of every intro to highlight somebody who has felt that way.
Yeah.
And has chosen to share it. So Brian, who are we putting on the spotlight today?
Just what the doctor ordered. 5 stars. I own a door company. We install entry and patio doors. Even though most of what is discussed here is about the big 3 trades, the principles are timeless. I listen to 5 to 10 podcasts a week, and this is always one of them. So much value every week. I really appreciate you guys. Billy, the door guy, could be no other except Billy Klein.
All right. Nice review. Thanks, Billy.
Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's great. And yes, we do talk a lot about the big 3, but that doesn't mean that we don't have some love for the other trades out there as well.
The little 270.
Whether you're a door guy, a garage door guy, a roof guy, a window guy, driveway guy, we appreciate everybody out there.
Yeah. Cleaners. We've been getting some love from the cleaning crews, painters, tons and tons of roofers lately. That's been probably the biggest growing trade in our audience. A lot of roofers. But yeah, we respect and appreciate all of you guys. Even the electricians.
There it is. Well, we're going to hop right over to the meat of the episode today. And it's just the 2 of us hanging out with you again, looking to squeeze into your passenger seat, talking about what it means to be well-priced and well valued in your market. And so one thing I was thinking about here as we were tossing around the idea of the subject is that there's such a gamble with being low priced in your market. And when I say that, I mean that obviously if you're going to be low priced, you are running thinner and thinner on your margins, and there's very little room for error, right? And that error could be anything. That could be a product that goes wrong. The client now expects you to have to fix or replace. That could be on the truck that has a mechanical problem that you have to fix, but you don't have as much money or cash flow available to do it. That could be on the fact that you end up attracting clients who are naturally oriented towards cheap. And so they just try to beat you up and beat you up and beat you up. And your tickets are lower and your complaints are higher and your reviews fall out from underneath of you. There's such a gamble to be in the lowest in the market. And I can't think of a whole lot of reasons to be in that position unless you like running that gamble all the time. Yeah, you're probably going to see a lot of new clients and you're probably going to hate most of them. So it's time for us to really consider how we are valuing the service that we provide, how we value our own skills, our own worth, and then how we feel about positioning that in the market so that you feel confident about doing so.
Yeah, not everybody's in a position where I'd say the majority of the people listening to this show are not in the position where they can make the pricing, like they don't affect the price book. But for the ones that are, this message is for you. Now, for the ones who sell said product and service and have the opportunity to either be confident about it or not confident about it and even discount it, this episode's for you. Installers who have to go out after the selling tech or the advisor was there and put the job in and decide whether you're going to stand proud with your chest out about what the client is paying for this product, service, and your personal time and years of experience and training. This episode's for you, right? Reasons to be proud of what you're doing and what the client's investing. I came up thinking that the price, the quote was just a number, but it's not really. It's like, I think we use this analogy probably the most in these terms, but when you walk a car lot, man, I drive by a Ferrari dealership on the way to work every day. Dude, Scottsdale's just freaking ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I might pass like 5 G-Wagons and a Rolls-Royce Cullinan and like these new Lamborghini SUVs. I forget what they're called, but it's $320,000 like crossover. I mean, it's the size of a freaking Dodge Journey for $3.25. And they're just all over the place. Scottsdale's like wild. But like you go to a 2-car dealership, there's like a Hyundai dealership next to the Ferrari dealership, and you like walk the lot and you see the prices on these different vehicles, and you just know, besides how cool some of these vehicles look, the really expensive ones, but you know the standard of quality you're getting with one versus the other, right? And it's no different in the home services. Now, inevitably, you listening to this in the driver's seat right now are thinking of that worst case scenario job you had with that one tool who would have a 6-time convicted felon addict into his house if it meant paying $1 less than you doing it. He just doesn't care about anything but saving a buck. And they exist, but like they're not a double-digit percentage of the people you see. It's probably less than 1%. Now, here's what I can tell you. I know this from personal experience, from me being a poor presenter, and now having trained hundreds and hundreds of, if you include this podcast, almost 100.
Plus a dozen.
Techs, right?
Yeah.
Thousands of techs over the years, like, and hundreds in person. I know that you can be such a poor communicator, even though you think you're the man, like you're probably not. You can be such a poor communicator of your value that you put the client in a headspace of thinking, I want to pay less for this. You don't deserve this much money for this small job. And you probably blazed through everything. You built no connection. And maybe you were likable, but you thought that should be enough, but it's not. And you're not presenting your value. So the client may literally see a handyman standing before him, but you think of yourself as like, the God's gift to HVAC techs or whatever. But without the ability to communicate that value in a big way, you're going to think you're running into that type of client who just wants the bottom dollar all the time. But that's not their fault. That's your fault. So I will always say this, and I mean it. Record you presenting and humble yourself enough to take it to somebody who is a skilled, high-level presenter or trainer, not me. I don't have time. And ask them to listen to it and give you honest, raw, brutal feedback. And I don't mean one of your boys who is going to stroke your ego for you. I mean a third party, someone who you know would hit you right between the eyes. Someone like me, but that has more time than me. Send it to Nate Minnick. But the price isn't just a number. It's a statement. I would even say on the higher level teams, it's a standard. It's a vow we make with the customer and ourselves. We don't charge more because we're greedy. We charge more because we refused to do average work at average pay and give the client average results. We charge more because we're the one who shows up when the water's on the floor and the family's looking at us like we're the last helicopter out. But if we sell cheap, we sell scared. Scared of the slightest bit of pushback because there are so many clients out there who know by now that if they act shocked by the price, you and all of your cowardice are going to fold up like a cheap chair and drop that price. And all they have to do is act bewildered by it, right? But if you stand your ground and you go, yeah, it's $1,400, like, and have the confidence to say, like, for you getting me out here, me personally, and my expertise and my years of training, and this job to be done the way it's going to be done, and the company that I'm with to stand behind it, like, we care about you and care about the job that we do, because that's the case. For me to do this job for $1,400, you're getting a deal. You should go ahead and snatch that up. That's selling out of confidence, right? That's not selling scared, terrified of someone giving a little pushback. But it's scared of the review. It's scared of the neighbor. It's scared of the father-in-law. Always concerned with what could happen. Scared of maybe our own potential a little bit. And I know those guys and have known those guys, and I was that guy. But there is like another gear that we can hit where we stop apologizing for excellence. Now, if you are a super subpar tech that does shoddy work on a super subpar team, you should probably feel a little something about what you're priced at, right? But you can make a personal commitment to excellence. And I've been on teams where one person drugged the entire team up. It was Nate. Nate always tracks a team up. But where you stop asking permission to be elite, carry yourself like a first-round draft pick in a league full of first-round draft picks. Like, carry yourself like you're worth every penny you're getting and then some. And you can almost be offended when someone expects to be able to get your job from your team and you personally for less than what you quoted. It's okay to feel some kind of way about that. It's not okay to snap on a client. But I'm asking for discounts. Like, I'm a Waste No Day guy. I'm a student of the Black Swan Group and Chris Voss's training. And I'm always trying to do the things that are really difficult and say things and ask for things that I don't want to do because I don't want to be, I want to be shy. But I'm going to ask for the discount. And think of the one that kind of looks down and like, I saw this coming, and goes and gets a manager or drops the price. Like, which way does your respect for that person go? Genuinely asking you to answer that question to yourself or to the radio. Does it go up or down? Versus the person goes, we don't do discount. What would we be giving you a discount for? Are you a veteran? Hey, happy Veterans Day, by the way, because it's the day we're recording this. All of our veteran listeners out there, we appreciate your service. We got one of our guys at the shop. I always, most veterans I know that I'll just be like, hey man, thank you for your service. And I'll give them like a wink, and they just like, they're crawling out of their skin. They don't really like that. It's uncomfortable for them. But this guy at our shop, I don't want to say his name because I didn't ask him if it's cool. But anytime I do it to him, he pulls his phone out and opens his Venmo QR code. He's like, thank me with your phone, bro. But here's the truth we need to know. People never buy the lowest price. It's so rare. They buy the lowest risk. And what they're looking for is certainty and to sleep at night. Now, again, there is that guy, but you don't see that many of that guy. Your issue that you're seeing is in the reflection of that little rectangle right above your truck stereo. Certainty has a cost. It has value. And if we're the people who deliver that value and that certainty, we need to put a number on it that honors the weight we carry. All of us have companies in our market that do what we do, that take advantage of clients, that do shoddy work, that put people in harm's way with the jobs they do. And we know that if a client goes with us, they're being saved from that. And we know that if they get someone who's a third the price of us, there's a good chance they're getting that team. So we should be not only very confident in what we charge, but adamant about the fact that to do that would be a mistake. I don't want you to go through that. I have seen too many of the people I serve go through that. Now, most of the time, unfortunately, I get there when they've already gone through it and I'm the one picking up the pieces. But in this case, in many cases, I get to stop you from making that mistake. And I'll go home and feel great about that.
It's good, Brian. And as I was thinking, for a relatable concept to the trades, a lot of people listening, I would suspect, and certainly a lot of people that I know are in the trades, have a high value for tools, a much higher value for specific brand tools than other brand tools, and an exceptionally, if not exponentially high value for quality tools against your average homeowner.
I would say the brand tools that we're talking about, but none of them are showing up to pay us to do it. But if they did and they were wearing a red hat and a red shirt and a red pickup, we would be all over that mess, right?
There you go. Yeah, and there might be a yellow hat and a yellow pickup as well. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie.
See, point. Yeah, okay. Case in point. But what I'm talking about is that, so obviously there's multiple layers of tools, right? If you're in mechanics, obviously you can go buy your Sears Craftsman, but you can also go buy Snap-on and Matco, to the degree that these guys actually have trucks. They will bring the tools to you. They bring the tool shop to you at your place of business. They stop by every week or every month or whatever and attempt to show you some cool new tools. And these cool new tools are very expensive, just like every good tool should be. And, we can have a fun conversation about brand name, but I'm just generally talking about high quality tools in general against your Harry Homeowner Weekend Warrior stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
You can say Ryobi.
There went that sponsorship.
You got a shed full of it, don't you?
No, actually, I have quite a bit of yellow stuff in my garage. But anyways, and there's value there, right? And it's not to say that those tool companies, they don't do discounts, but a lot of times when they do discounts, it's on an extra battery or something like that, which is not the tool itself, right? It's on the power source of the tool, which is a whole other thing. But the concept of what you're paying for and what you're getting, why are you as a technician willing to drop $400 on a tool, $2,000 on a ProPress unit, when half the people don't even know what that thing is, much less understand what it would be used for? And they certainly wouldn't spend that amount of money when they could go get, quote unquote, the same thing for half as much. And so if you can understand your own buying logic when it comes to something that you care about and are passionate about, and you're like, well, I'm not going to sacrifice on that. I know what it means to buy the Weekend Warrior pliers that snaps on a Friday at 4 when I absolutely need that thing to twist the nut off the one last bolt, right?
I'm
what that is.
Keep going, buddy. You're just trying to figure out some terms for tech talk.
How dare you?
Pliers and the nut and the bolt.
Oh yeah, Brian, you go ahead. You name some tools, buddy, that you use.
Keyboard, phone, camera.
The point is that there's a reason that you invest in good quality products that are going to number one, last. They're going to do the job that you want them to do. They're probably going to actually save you time. And if we're being honest, there's a level of pride or, I don't know, chest beating that comes with whatever your brand is. And you're like, well, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I buy. Right. And yet we don't take that same mindset when it comes to how we value the skills that you have in using those very highly expensive tools for a homeowner doing a service that they probably cannot do in most cases. And they certainly don't want to do. Hence the reason you're standing there.
If we do take pride in it, too many of us do the thing where we value our time so much and you want it done cheap. We go, hey, I'm not doing it that cheap. You go ahead and find someone who will. I'm out. And they walk. And they jump on social media and they beat their chest and brag about this attitude like it's something to celebrate. You just fell apart and threw a temper tantrum. That's your lack of stoicism in a client's crisis is a reason to beat your chest. You're being an emotional toddler is a reason to brag. But it is funny because that kind of comment will get the most traction in a post in a lot of these trade groups. And it's like, it's weak. It's just weak. It's cowardly and small. The real stand-up guy there, the real mature person, leader, is going to stay there and understand why the client thinks it should be so much less, and then help them understand why you believe it should be what you're asking, if not more, and then get them on board with it. That's communication. That's leadership. So picture something. Those of you who have run calls. 6 a.m., van's warming up. You're staring at your steering wheel, thinking about the bills, the kids, the job you're about to run. A lot of techs start the day negotiating with their fear, like trying to swallow it down and get themselves amped up to do something that they're really kind of anxious about. But not you, not anymore. Today, we negotiate with our identity. Who am I? What do I actually stand for? And what do people get when they get served by me? And even better, what do I provide that's more than my competitors? They get someone who doesn't quit in the crawl space, who answers the phone when it would be easier to pretend they didn't see it, send them to voicemail. Someone who answers the text by the client as soon as they get it, as opposed to just kind of putting it on the shelf and probably forgetting about it. But they get someone who makes their problems smaller the second they interact with you. And that's worth more. Say it with me. That is worth more. And when you charge more, you force yourself to raise your standards. It's like a way to force excellence on yourself. Now, I would say don't wait to raise your standard of excellence until you charge more. Let's raise everything together. But it's raising the bar on our language, raising the bar on our eye contact, raising the bar on our body language, raise the bar on our follow-up, on the way that our install crew behaves, where everyone's walking in the home like it's the house of their mother, assuming that they respect their mother and their mother's house, which is not a given in our trade. But cheap is a promise we make to our insecurity. Premium is a promise we make to our future. Premium pricing, premium service, premium products, premium way that we stand behind our products and services. I read a 1-star review today I was looking at some of the bigger competitors in our space by one of the bigger ones. And it said, had my water softener installed by them a few years ago, still under a warranty. They came out and had to swap it out under warranty and they charged me $500. It also blew probably resin beads, if I had to guess, all into my system. And they wanted way more money to clean that stuff out from their softener. And they got a 1-star review. 1-star reviews are effing brutal. It's an anchor to a company. When you get your overall score dragged down, you miss so many calls. One, because with the higher score, Google's going to put you in front of more people. And two, there's a percentage of people who are only going to go with a 5-star company if one's available. And the response was such that, according to our records, the only warranty you had was a manufacturer's warranty and not a labor warranty. So what we charged you for was labor, which is tough because, like, you need to answer reviews. There should be that public answer on there. But it's brutal because it's like, how do you, it had me thinking, this can happen to anybody, right? Like, a lot of people have, water heater has a 6-year standard warranty. A lot of people will slap a 2-year labor on it, right? You can go out 5.5 years later and say that it's not under the labor warranty. We're going to have to charge you for the swap out and get lit up on Google because all the client knows is 6-year warranty, right? So it had me thinking, like, how do we convey it more clearly that if anything happens after the 2-year mark, I think it would make most sense to say, here's another package where it's a full whatever warranty, including labor and anything that could possibly happen. And if they decline that package, now you talk about the water softener guy who was upset, obviously, and probably kicking himself a little bit for not taking that full warranty in the beginning. Now, you don't want to say our softener is going to fill your home's plumbing system with resin beads after 5 years, but you wordsmith that a little bit better. I don't remember why we started talking about a review, although it just popped out to me for no particular reason. It's like,
well, I think what you're getting at, Brian, is not only backing up your price with your level of confidence, it's with your level of quality as well, because there is a real world adverse effect to having cheap quality. And that is that people can attribute that to, well, it's going to turn into an argument, most likely. And then that argument gets put online. And then, as you were stating, it's very difficult to defend that, even if you have logic, like even if you have the higher path.
Yeah, they were in the right. Like, the company was in the right, but does it matter? Great. So we can sit around in the training room and say, yeah, but that guy was wrong. You should have just bought the bigger. Like, what difference does it make? The 1-star review got posted. A lot of people are going to see that you had something under warranty and didn't honor that warranty. Now, some of them will read your response, but not all of them. Some will just never call that team because they saw that interaction and said, well, I certainly don't want to be in that position in 5 years. Yeah, so it's tough, but it's like, it has to make you wonder, do you just eat it? Eat the little bit of labor? Probably, right? Take care of that client.
Conversation for another episode, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But I think to the point of like being cheap in your market, how many of you listening to this episode right now have ever tried to do a solid for somebody, quote unquote solid, or tried to give them a deep discount or whatever, and then regretted it on the back end when the complaints and the 1-star review and all the frustration and the warranty callbacks and it wasn't good enough and everything else comes after it. Like, so what did you really gain? Nothing. You gained a headache and you lost money.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And we get into that in the trades where we're like, I'm going to argue, right? My ego can't take you being this wrong and me not setting you straight. But like, the more your ego wins, the more your company loses. Yeah. But we're not selling parts. We're not selling equipment. We're selling peace of mind. And peace of mind is not cheap either way. Because Eddie Rearman, one of our top techs here in Arizona, and I were talking about that. He's sitting with me while we're looking at that review this morning. And he's like, what do you have us do in that situation? Like, the client's upset. He's like, do you just have us swap the thing out and clean out the valves and all that? I'm like, yeah. Like, what I'm going to say to do. We could leave with 500 and our ego intact and like, but is that review, and even more than that client hating us now until the end of time, worth $500 bills to a company? Everyone listening knows the answer to that question, but our egos, like, we just can't have this guy taking advantage of us like this, right? But where's the real W there? Is it just to say, hey, man, let me just take care of the client? And again, we're preaching more about not discounting on this episode than anything. But this is a kind of a counter argument to that, where you don't want to leave a client feeling taken advantage of. And maybe we need to be clearer in our explanation of manufacturer's warranty versus labor warranty, and that at some point there will be a split there, right? If there's going to be a split. Because when we get in these situations, it's a loss. We're taking a big loss.
Yeah, and this is all the more reason to make sure that you are pricing correctly in the market, because there has to be margin to have these types of conversations. And if you've been cheap Charlie in the entire way through, and then you come across a client who you're like, nah, I don't love it, but I feel like I have to do something here to kind of preserve the relationship.
Yeah.
There ain't a whole lot left.
Yeah. Now you're upside down for the whole month.
Now you're working for free.
Yep. And unfortunately, all the other clients that you see throughout the month are going to pay that bill. But it's what they say. That's the cost of doing business. The show must go on. There's that moment at every kitchen table or wherever you present where the air goes thin and the client is searching our face for a reason to trust you. They're not calculating line items or their budget. They're calculating me, the tech, the salesperson. Do they believe in their own number? Do you believe in your own team? And I think of guys I admire, not because they're loud, but because they're unshakable in their confidence of that stuff, right? They're a lighthouse in a storm. Competitor undercuts them, they're a lighthouse. Bad day, bad month, pressure from home, pressure from the team, not hitting very hard, problems everywhere you look. Lighthouse. Stoic. Grateful. Be that, right? The person people point to when their life feels like it's in the midst of a storm. Was it Billy Graham who had that storm warning book? Said you're either in a storm, coming out of a storm, or heading into a storm at all times. And I like the Stoic philosophy on these things, because it's like, if you know that you're always either in one, on the way into one, or just coming out of one, and there's another one around the corner, then throwing the fits and making it everybody's problem, you know that there's no upside to it. There's no benefit. So why bother? So be the person who makes chaos look tame. That's premium, especially when you're dealing with a client. It's worth paying extra for. It's worth charging extra for. Yeah. And there will be people who say too much, but, bless them. They're not necessarily your people. Your people want to promise with a spine the number that says we don't cut corners, we cut failure rates. Your clients are tired of gambling with the cheapest bidder and losing sleep. So let's lift those chins up, shoulders back, chest out. Don't walk into homes like we're asking for permission to exist. Walk in like we're on assignment. Like your kids or future kids are watching, taking their cues on how to act as a man or woman of substance and character and a leader. So walk in like our last name stamped on every invoice, because it is. Every job is our signature. And every signature builds our name and reputation for the rest of our lives. But our name builds our price.
It's a great place to leave it, Brian, and a great way to kind of wrap up the episode here. It's something that I think everybody should feel more confident in, is exactly what you're talking about there. And there might be some of you out there who are thinking, well, yeah, I could charge more, but I'm probably going to sell less. Challenge yourself on that, right? And that means that you're probably not valuing exactly what you're talking about. We're not advocating for just jacking the price up just because. We're saying find value and confidence in what you are charging. Make sure that it's actually worth it, right? It's you. And to Brian's point, it's your name being stamped on that invoice. Whether it's your name on the shirt or not, doesn't really matter. It's your name on the work. It's your name on the conversation. And it's certainly your name that the client is going to remember. Right?
Yeah.
So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. And it's a great place, again, especially as we kind of draw the year in for a close. And there's probably lots of Christmas offers and everything else going on out there. And you're seeing a lot of this and everybody's racing to the bottom. Don't be that guy. Be the guy who is challenging himself to continue to fly high, to charge what he is worth, and to be able to communicate that confidently in the home. We hope that you enjoyed it. Share this one around. And of course, we're going to leave you with our weekly challenge, which continues to be the same: to choose to wake up each and every morning and waste no day.